it's Meleah.
And this is Ashley.
And you're listening to
Just Grow with the Flow.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, babes.
Today we're talking about manifestation.
Yeah, let's talk about debunking these myths of manifestation, understanding the truths of manifestation, and maybe a little bit about our experience with manifestation.
For sure.
Okay.
This was kind of all of a new concept to me, but I feel like in the last year, I'm like, this shit's real. Where I didn't really understand or believe in it, but I'm like, hey, what is this about? And started learning, and now I'm like, oh, it's working.
Okay, so tell us, I think from an ex-Jehovah's Witness point of view, tell us what you used to think of manifestation when you were a Jehovah's Witness.
I didn't even know the term.
Okay.
To be honest, I had never even really heard. I mean, I'm sure I've heard of it, but not in the sense of you can manifest your life according to how you want it. Okay. I was taught as a Jehovah's Witness that the only thing that really mattered was dedicating your life to service to God. So your desires didn't matter, your wants, your needs, all of that was reserved for the new world or paradise on earth after. So it's after God's kingdom came here, then you would get everything you ever wanted. So trying to manifest your needs now in this life would be a very selfish concept from Jehovah's Witnesses perspective. So that was not something I even considered doing. Because it was if you just give over your life and all your time to God and just knock on doors, read publications, read the Bible, talk about Jehovah, think about Jehovah, pray to Jehovah, Jehovah, do not think about what you want. And then God will give you everything you could ever have imagined in the new world. So this life is not for you.
It's completely for service. For service of Jehovah.
Yeah, and to convert people to become Jehovah's Witnesses so that they can have the new life in the new world and love God too.
It's so cool.
Because they can't know him without us.
That's what one of the main things of cult is this in the end, it'll be amazing, but no end is ever there. And
it's all doomsday, which is funny because when you're in, you're like, oh, they're a doomsday cult. They're a doomsday cult. And there's literally no difference. It's just you have differentiating views and thoughts on what the scriptures mean, your own interpretation of scriptures, but you're really all doing the same thing. It's a doomsday. God's going to destroy you if you don't obey, if you don't repent, if you don't confess your sins.
Okay, so when was the first time you were introduced to the concept of manifestation, and how did it sit with you?
So after I left, it was about a year afterward that I had gotten in touch with my mentor, who's now my life coach. He's one of my best friends, Rodney. And he kind of taught me it without teaching it to me.
Okay, so he didn't use the terms.
He might have, but it didn't register if he did.
Okay.
I don't think he did. I think he was just, he really just taught me how to reframe my thoughts in a way that was a positive. He would always tell me that my past decisions and my past thinking was affecting my life in the current and in the present. And so he's like, the decisions that you're making now, you've made decisions that were not the best for you in the past, and it takes time for those to show up in your reality. So he's like, right now you're having to deal with those, but if you continue right now to choose better things for yourself, better things for your family. And then he was teaching me also how to deal with triggers and negative people, in my life, and not allow it to get into my head and to frustrate me. He would teach me how to just stay calm and really think things through. And, then I started learning meditation, and that taught me how to breathe and deal, with things kind of one at a time and slower. And then my thought process just started to change. And then through meditation, I started learning about manifestation and how you can create your life through your thoughts.
I love that.
What about you?
Okay, so I was first introduced through very similar to you, actually. It was a lot of reframing your thoughts in Keller Williams was the big thing. So it was this whole cycle of your core beliefs are going to create the thoughts that you have.
This was through your training
For Keller Williams.
Real estate. Okay.
For real estate.
Okay.
Yeah. So your core beliefs are going to create the thoughts that you have. The thoughts that you have are going to create the feelings that you feel, and the feelings that you feel are going to create the actions that you will take.
Yes.
Logic makes you think, emotion makes you act, kind of thing.
Yes.
And so we would be taught with like in real estate some of the like false beliefs that we had. Like what were those beliefs, or not even false beliefs, like limiting beliefs, if you will, beliefs that limited to your ultimate goal. So, you know, in real estate, we talk about what are our ultimate financial goals, what are our ultimate lifestyle goals, what are our ultimate relational goals, and then looking at those goals, are the beliefs that I currently have ineffective or effective towards reaching that goal? And we would dissect those beliefs. Like one of the beliefs that I used to have was that you can either make a lot of money and hate what you do for a living, or you can make very little money but you'll love what you do. And I had to reframe that belief to believe I could love the work that I was doing, and I could also make a ton of money doing it.
Yeah.
And it was safe and it was okay. And I didn't realize when, like same with you, when I was going through this reframing process, that just changing my thoughts, which led to changing my actions, was creating or manifesting the life that I wanted.
Right.
You know? And so it wasn't until, you know, Keller Williams didn't necessarily use the word manifestation.
Exactly. But they're still teaching it.
It's the same concept. It wasn't until I met an amazing gal. I mean, I dabbled in manifestation before this gal, but Faith Young, who wrote a book, What Would Faith Do?, has a beautiful conversation in her book about manifestation, and really like getting bites of those kinds of things really made me understand. And then watching The Secret was another really big aha for me around manifestation.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's so good. It just pretty much talks about how like you can create what you want to create through manifestation. And it does a really good job talking about truths and myths.
Is that a movie?
Yeah.
Or, okay. Cool.
Documentary.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll have to watch it.
But it's, one of the things that's, I think, was a really big hang up for me with manifestation. And one of the things that Keller Williams really teaches you is you have to take action. And I think a big myth around manifestation is I could just sit here all day long and go, I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to make $1 million. But you have to take action.
You do, but also without stressing. Because it's kind of a balance. Because it's like, you do have to take action, but you don't have to be like, how? Because the opportunities and the doors just show up. They're just there. When you like trust the universe and you're like, okay, I'm going to have this in my life. This is going to happen. This is what I want. I know it's going to happen. And then you just see the right clients or the right job or the right opportunities, and then you take action. But you don't have to stress about like, where is it? I have to work and stress yourself out because it just comes.
Right. Well, and that was the big difference between, like, when I think about manifestation and when I was able to manifest. One of them was, you know, the period of time when I came back from living van life with my ex-boyfriend, who just financially ruined me. And then I wasn't working. I was having panic attacks. It was so hard for me to work. And so I just kept telling myself, I knew it. And that's like a core that needs to happen within manifestation. It's like, you just know it.
Yeah.
You just know that it's going to be that way because you chose to reframe your beliefs. That's how it starts.
Right.
But it's like, I think the myth is, if I just decided to say, I know that my bills will be paid, I know that enough money is going to come to me, but I didn't take any action, that money wouldn't have come to me.
For sure.
But it's, you look for the doors that are opening. So I'm reframing my thinking to, I know money's just going to come to me. So now I'm open to the opportunities that show up for money to come to me. One of those opportunities was like, I got called in to do a like survey thing, and they immediately gave me $350 for that survey. And the normal me would have been like, this is a scam call. I'm not going to take this call. I'm going to get off. But because I was open to the idea of maybe this is somewhere where I can get money, because I am believing that I'm going to get money brought to me, that I'm going to manifest this money without working a traditional job, I was more open to conversations where they talked about, hey, we'll get you paid for this.
Especially when it's like the exact amount that you're trying to manifest.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love too that it's like the vibrational frequency.
Yes.
That is like goes right along with manifestation. That's something Rodney taught me without teaching me, because he would always say, you just operate at a higher vibration. Because I'd be like, this person said this and I would never say that, and this person did this and I don't understand because I'm not like that to people, or I'm kind, and like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And he would say, like, instead of why is this happening, and I realized I was in a victim mindset. Instead, be like, what can I learn from this? What is this teaching me? And everything is for my higher good. Everything works out for me. And so it's like when things go wrong, there's always something that you can take from it. You can learn from it and use. And so when you look at life that way, it's not a negative, it's a positive. And then your vibration is higher because you're not working, your mind and your emotions are not working from a low frequency. It's a higher frequency. And then that's what you're attracting.
Yes.
And that's how you manifest, because you raise your vibration. And it's crazy because it works.
Yeah.
Like,
what we're
talking about is one thing, but seeing it, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. What were the so along with manifestation and higher vibrations comes like different emotions that will put you in different vibrations.
Yes.
So let's like talk a little bit about that. Some of the like lower emotions, that if you're feeling those emotions, you're probably in lower frequency.
Yeah.
And so if you're working on trying to manifest and you're like struggling with it, you may want to check your emotions. So like quote unquote negative based emotions would be lower frequencies. So like guilt, shame are very low frequencies. If you're feeling a lot of shame around something, you're probably in a low frequency. What are some other ones?
Or for me, like getting defensive, like trying to like protect who I am, defending myself. So for me, what it was a lot was my ex-husband's girlfriend and the attacks she would give me through messages, and her not knowing me, not knowing who I am, and just defaming my character would get to me, because I would be like, she's trying to make me out to be something I'm not. And it would like make me so frustrated, angry, and I would just react. And then I started slowing down, really thinking about how I wanted to respond, and then also learning to love myself. I didn't care over time what she did or said, because it was like, I knew who I was. I know that my kids know who I am. I know that my friends know who I am. So anyone else doesn't really matter. And it started to raise my vibration to where I wasn't defending in defense mode.
Well, and like I was reading in, I don't know if I can remember the book that it is. But I was reading this book, and one of the things that it said is, when you are working towards raising your vibration, what your book said is that you want to just slowly work your way up the ladder. So if you're feeling shame and guilt, that's like one of the lowest. Then you can go up to resentment or anger, and that's not as bad. But courage is the middle ground. And that's like what started to happen with you, is you decided, I'm going to move from this anger and resentment. I'm just going to have the courage to trust that the people who love me know my character, and the people who don't love me don't matter.
Right, and that it's more about them, what they're doing, than it is about me. Like, I didn't need to take it personally, because it really didn't have anything to do with me. It was more about her and what's going on with her and what she's dealing with and she's projecting. So I'm like, now if I get anything, I can respond so much more calm, and nothing really affects me, so I don't have to engage anymore. And I don't. I just don't really. I do the bare minimum of what's needed.
Communication, that's required.
Yeah, what I have to do for my kids, but besides that, I'm just like, like I don't really need to respond to the rest, and it feels good. And so, and when I talk to Rodney about it, he's like, that's how you raise your vibration. Like, you just, you're on a different level now, and so things like that don't affect you, and awesome.
So then,
you see the progress.
Other higher vibrations are like the emotion of love, or the experience of joy, or the experience of peace. So those are the kind of those are the kind of emotions that you're thriving to experience, or you're striving to experience. Yeah. Tell us a story about like one of the most powerful manifestations. Like, I think about your apartment to this house.
That's definitely the biggest, I think, so far. That and the job with you.
Yeah,
those kind of all happened at the same time, so I'll explain that.
Yeah.
So I left a relationship a couple of years ago, and a year ago, I guess, a little over a year ago, and I really didn't have a lot of money. I knew I wanted to be on my own, and I was just determined to make that work, and I didn't know how it was going to work, but the money came at the right time, just came from different sources, and I was able to get an apartment. It was a tiny, 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 tiny apartment. You didn't see the first one, but you saw the second one. Yeah. The first one was a 1-bedroom, and I have 3 kids, but I had 2 of them in one room, and I got like a little shelf to divide their spaces, and it worked for the moment. It was better than a hotel. Then I ended up being able to transfer to a 2-bedroom, which was really nice, but still, I had a huge walk-in closet, so I put my 9-year-old in my walk-in closet, made that his bedroom, which he loved it. He thought it was a cool, like, fort area. So that worked out. But then I had everything kind of just come crashing down out of nowhere, and had to move. And I got, I got evicted on false accusations. It wasn't even us that did anything, but I couldn't prove it in the time that they had me to move out. So I was just like, I just had to find a new place. And at the time I was just learning about manifestation. And so I just like said this like prayer of, I just want a house, because I was looking everywhere for an apartment and I couldn't afford anything, or the ones that I could afford that were big enough for my family were too far away from the kids' schools, or just not the right place for me. So I was like, what do? I have literally 6 days to get out. So I just said, I just want a house that I can afford, that's big enough for my kids, that's going to be comfortable, that's near their schools, that's near their dad. And to make sure that it was the universe, I was like, and next to a river. But I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. But I was like, but by a river. And then I just thought, if that happens, I'll really know the universe is listening to me. But I did not expect it. And I got this house through a friend. It was the only thing like available in Windsor, which is where I wanted to be. And she showed it to me, and I'm like, oh my God, it's literally perfect. And the money just came in at the right time, the right amount. It was amazing. And it has a river literally 2 blocks away.
Yes. And like, just to get a clear understanding of like the total difference that you manifested, how big was your apartment? Like how many square feet?
Maybe the second one was maybe 1,000.
Yeah, about 1,000 square feet. 2 bedrooms. Your son was in the closet. Your other son really didn't have a
bedroom, so he didn't really stay the night. Yeah.
Kitchen was tiny. Living room was itty bitty. Small little tiny balcony. To now, how many square feet is this?
I'm not even sure what. It's probably like 2,800.
Yeah.
You think?
Single family home.
5 bedrooms.
5 bedrooms, 3 baths, 3
baths, 3 full baths.
With a full backyard.
Yeah, the kids the 2 older kids have walk-in basements. Walk-in closets. I have, a large backyard for the dog. I have an office.
Yeah, her own office space.
And then I have a space down for my second business in the basement now. And a family room.
Yes.
A fireplace, which I've always wanted. I didn't
Yes. It's just... like literally the most perfect house for your family came to you because you decided that you were worthy of that, and then you told the universe that's what you want.
Yeah, and I didn't know how I was even going to afford it either, but I was like, I'm going to make this work. This is the house that my family deserves to have and that we want, and my kids deserve this. And so I was like, I'm just going to figure it out. And every month I've had more than enough.
And what's so beautiful is it all starts with courage.
Yeah.
You had no idea how you were going to create the income that you needed to be able to be in this home, but you just decided, I'm going to move courageously, and it's been the best thing for your family.
Yeah, and then the job, I knew I needed to find something to support me when I was in that apartment, and then I knew that I wanted something bigger. I didn't know when, and I feel like, the eviction that was so wrong was totally a blessing in disguise. And in the moment, I was calling Rodney, I was calling you, I was calling people like falling apart, John, and being like, what do I do? Like, I don't understand. And then it's like everything happened for a reason. Like, that was all supposed to happen.
It all worked out.
Yeah, so I just saw your listing on Indeed, and it was like, if you have an outgoing personality and you're good at being around people, and which I love working with people, and like I work very well on a team and like doing different things. I can't just sit in one place. So I was like, oh, I've been a Jehovah's Witness my whole life. I've done nothing but go door to door, and I could get paid for it, and I'm good at it, and I'm not shy at the door. So I was like, I could do this. Which in the beginning I thought, oh my God, this is the perfect job for me, which it didn't end up being the perfect job because it was triggering. And it did bring up, like, I feel like I'm in service. I don't care if I'm getting paid. I was like, I don't enjoy this. But I met you. She was my boss. And her and I just clicked right away. We talked about manifestation like the day she hired me.
We talked about it in your interview.
Yeah, in the interview. And I was like, I manifested this. But I was like, it was partly the job, but also you. Because I was like, she's who I want to work with. Like, I loved you from the minute I met you. And Yeah, you were like, what? You're a Jehovah's Witness? Like,
oh,
yeah,
so
you're hired.
I was so intrigued. I was like, this girl knows how to go door to door.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, sales isn't for everyone. Yeah, but then now looking back, because I didn't love the job, but now I'm like, okay, the universe did give me you as a friend, you know, and I had been through some stuff with some women that you know about, you know, that kind of went downhill when I was trying to make friends after the cult, and I just feel like this friendship and relationship was so easy, and you get me, and we're so similar, and then,
Yeah, absolutely. So manifestation, it fucking works.
It fucking works. And I fucking love it.
Yeah.
It's not always easy, though, because you're not always in the highest frame of mind. And sometimes I get, like, mad at myself because I'm like, why are you feeling down today? Like, you have to think positive. Like, this is not what we do. Like, we keep going and we're strong, but you still have to feel your feelings. And your feelings are there for a reason. And things trigger you. And it's just about paying attention to your body and your emotions. Yes. What's going on? What is this telling me? And learning from it. And then, you know, like, I think I've told you before, like, if I'm feeling down or something's happened that hurts me, I'll be like, okay, I'm taking today and I'm going to feel my feelings. I'll journal or I'll do whatever. I'll cry, feel it. And then tomorrow I'm strong and moving forward.
Well, I think that's a good myth to debunk with manifestation too, because I think when I started to go through this process of reframing a manifestation, I went through a period of toxic positivity where I would try to make my ex-husband, like, he would have a bad day at work, and I didn't want to hear it because we need to stay positive. Mm-hmm. We don't want to be negative. Mm-hmm. And I would be that way at work, and I'd be that way with friends, and then that toxic positivity really just stuffs down your emotions. Mm-hmm. And then you're wondering why your manifestation isn't working because you're not actually truly being your authentic best self.
Yeah, you're not listening to your intuition.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think that's another thing to debunk is manifestation does not require you to be positive all the time. 24/7. Yeah. Manifestation requires for you to be aware of who you are and what you want and move through it with intention.
For sure. And while you should be positive as much as you can, manifestation does have room for negative emotions.
Yes.
You can still manifest and not feel 100% all the time. And that's something I'm recently realizing because I've been, like, frustrated when I don't have a day that I feel really productive or feel like, oh, I'm going in the right direction. Or if I stress about a bill or, like, why is this happening? Then I'm like, don't think like that. And I'm like, no, it's okay. As long as it's like 80%, it's more than half, you know, then you're having more positive than negative. You're still manifesting.
Absolutely. And I think what you talked about too of, like, you want to take the time to slow down and process your emotions and cry and feel and experience because part of manifestation is having a high energy and high vibrations. And if you're holding all of those emotions in, it's already creating these negative energies, these negative vibrations. It's keeping you low.
Even though you don't
realize it. You're like, oh no, I'm so positive.
Yeah, it's okay. Everything's fine. Then you're not really manifesting.
You're not really truly doing it. So you want to process those negative emotions, but you don't want to dwell in them. So absolutely. One of the biggest learns that I had in the last few years was there's processing your emotions and then there's obsessing over your emotions. You're processing your emotions when you're allowing yourself to actually feel the experience. You're obsessing when you're thinking about the emotion. Absolutely. So if I'm sitting there thinking and going, oh, I'm so angry. Why am I so angry? What's happening with this anger, and I'm thinking all about the anger, I'm just obsessing about that concept. But processing the emotion is going, what do I feel inside of me? Okay, I feel tight in my chest. Okay, yes. I feel really, really heavy right now. I feel tired. What do I need to do with this feeling? What is this feeling trying to tell me? Absolutely. What do I need to learn from this? Or what do I need to give myself right now? That's processing the emotion. Yeah. And taking those and being able to understand the difference allows you to actually take that emotion through and release through your body rather than continue to just put the weight on it.
Yeah, and we're all different. Like, as I coach ex-Jehovah's Witnesses and helping them process trauma or emotions from their past, I'm also learning some people like to journal. Some people like to meditate. Some people like to work out. And those are all amazing ways to process emotions because moving your body can get it out of you. crying can get it out of you. Breaking things that are okay to
Appropriately
be broken is a good way to get your anger out.
Screaming into your pillow.
There's tons of different ways, but you do have to get it out. And like writing it out really works for me in meditation because I can process what I'm feeling slower instead of just letting my mind go, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just so important that if you just sit and think, sometimes this doesn't really do anything. It can make it worse.
Yep.
But writing it down, you feel like, oh, it's not in my head anymore. It's out. It's right here. So I can read it whenever and it's just out of my body. That's how I feel. And then, like I said, other people can do yoga or run or lift weights and they're still dealing with it, getting it out. Yeah. So as long as you're like getting it out of your body and processing it, there's tons of different ways you can do that. But
yeah. What is one piece of advice you have for somebody around manifestation?
So broad around manifestation. I think like just to kind of sum up everything we've said is pay attention to your body. Mm-hmm. Listen to your emotions and what they're trying to tell you. And even me, sometimes I'm like, why do I feel triggered right now? Like sometimes, you know, my kids will not put stuff away and I'll get a little bit like fluttered and then I'm like, why is this bothering me so much? What is this really coming from? And before I would just be like annoyed and irritated and not even think about why. Where I'm like, it's because I feel disrespected. And so it's like when you can understand the feeling behind the trigger, then you can be like, why do I feel disrespected? And just keep asking the why. And it's like, because I was disrespected in relationships or as a child, or I wasn't listened to, you know, like there's a lot of different things that can come from. And then you just can sit down and be like, I feel disrespected because. And just being able to determine one little thing like that and then just being like, I feel disrespected because a lot of stuff's going to come up and you're going to be like, oh, I didn't realize how many things I felt disrespected about. Yeah. But you just processed it. Yeah. And then the next time I'm triggered, I'm like, it's not even about my kids. It's about me. And so then I can be like, hey, can you guys please do this when you don't clean up and I ask you to? It makes me feel disrespected. And my kids are like, oh, we don't want you to feel that way. Like, I just had a conversation with them like that. I'm like, if I ask you to clean your room or dump the trash and you guys don't do it, I feel disrespected because I do so much for you guys that when I ask you to do something simple and you don't, it makes me feel disrespected. They're like, okay, sorry. And they try harder. Whereas if I'm like, I told you to take out the trash 3 times, and then they're like, oh, whatever, we don't care. You know, it's just a different way of dealing with it. Yeah, that's beautiful. That was a really long way to give a piece of advice, but that's your role. That's how I am. That's your role. I don't do simple. Okay, I would say if I had one piece of advice for manifestation, it would, if like, not even just starting, but just making sure you're really clear on what do you want to accomplish. Because if you know what the ultimate goals are, then you can make sure that your manifestation is on track, that what you want to accomplish is on track with what your ultimate goal is. But if you aren't clear on what your ultimate goals are in your life, then manifestation is going to be really difficult and you're going to have a hard time feeling aligned in your world. Absolutely. So get really clear on what your end game is and then keep that in front of you so you can make sure that you're making the right moves. Yeah, I think that's so important to really, because I find with my clients, I'll say, well, what do you want? Because they know what they don't want. Yeah. And then I'm like, what do you want? What do you want your life to look like? And I went through this too when I was asked that by Rodney. I'm like, I don't even know. And it's like, well, figure it out and then move in that direction. Yeah. Start making moves that get you there. And when you do know and you envision, like, this is the life I want, and then you start realizing I deserve that and I can get that. Things, then you can start to move forward and you don't feel so stagnant and stuff. Yeah. Also, that's so common. Our brain. This is us always. Our brain is set for us to think in the negative. So, an exercise that I did just reminded me of, I don't remember who taught me this, but it's brilliant. We very easily can say what we don't want. So if you have no idea what you want, just start writing down all the things you don't want. Write down everything that you don't want, everything that you clearly understand that you don't want. And then on the other side of the paper, write down the opposite of that. And that's probably pretty damn close to what you do want. Yeah, and it's in there. You just didn't know it was in there. Yeah, yeah. And that's how you find it. You're just having to hack your brain. Our brain is
set to think in the negative. It's our primal instinct. And so we just have to hack our brain and start with that primal instinct and then move into our more advanced thinking.
Yeah. An exercise I've done with some clients is when they don't know, I'm like, okay, close your eyes. You're in your dream home. What's it look like? And it just comes.
Yeah.
Who are you with? Who's there with you? What are you doing? It comes because you know what you love. You know what you want.
You just have to have the courage to think about it. The
yeah,
courage
and
to
when
process it.
When you're asked the questions and forced to think about it, then you're like, oh, that's where I would be. That's what I would be doing. And then you just move in that direction.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, loves.
That's all for today.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.